Half of 2026 is already gone. Pause for a moment and let that sink in. Some people will hear those words and feel excitement because they're closer than ever to their goals. Others will feel a quiet sense of regret, wondering where the time went. Perhaps you made resolutions in January, promises to become healthier, wealthier, more disciplined, or more confident. Maybe you started strong, but somewhere along the way, life got busy, motivation faded, and old habits quietly reclaimed their place. Here's the surprising truth. Your year isn't determined by the first 6 months. It's determined by what you choose to do next. The next few months have the power to completely rewrite your story. They can become the season where you stop making excuses, stop waiting for the perfect moment, and finally become the person you've always believed you could be. Most people think life changes through one dramatic breakthrough, a lucky opportunity, a brilliant idea, or a single life-changing decision. But history, psychology, and the lives of extraordinary people tell a different story. Real transformation doesn't happen overnight. It happens quietly, through the small actions you repeat when no one is watching. Your future is being built right now, not by your biggest dreams, but by your daily habits. Every morning you wake up, every choice you make, every distraction you resist, every page you read, every workout you complete, every difficult conversation you choose to have, and every promise you keep to yourself is shaping the person you are becoming. Success is rarely an event. More often, it is a pattern. Failure is rarely one terrible decision. More often, it is a collection of small compromises repeated day after day. If you continue living exactly as you are today, where will you be when this year ends? Will you be stronger or weaker, more confident or more doubtful? Closer to your dreams or still telling yourself that you'll start tomorrow? These are uncomfortable questions, but they are necessary because your life changes the moment you become honest about the direction you're heading. The good news is this: you do not need to change everything today. You don't need more talent. You don't need more time than everyone else. You don't need perfect circumstances, unlimited money, or endless motivation. What you need are better habits. Tiny decisions, repeated consistently, create extraordinary results. One better choice today becomes a better week. A better week becomes a better month. A better month becomes a different year, and eventually a different life. That's exactly what this audiobook is about. In the next few minutes, you'll discover 10 powerful habits that have transformed the lives of high performers, successful entrepreneurs, world-class athletes, and everyday people who decided they would no longer settle for average. These aren't quick hacks or empty motivational slogans. They are timeless principles that have stood the test of time because they work. But don't just listen. Challenge yourself to choose at least one habit and begin practicing it today. Because knowledge alone has never changed a life. Action does. By the time you reach the end of this audiobook, you won't just see the second half of 2026 differently, you'll see yourself differently. And that may be the beginning of the greatest transformation of your life. Let's begin. Habit 1. Become the architect of your identity. If you could change only one thing about the way you think for the rest of your life, let it be this. Stop asking, "What do I want?" and start asking, "Who must I become?" Most people spend their lives chasing outcomes. They want to lose weight, make more money, build a successful business, write a book, find a meaningful relationship, or become financially free. Those are worthy goals, but they all have one thing in common. They focus on results. The problem is that results don't create lasting change. Identity does. Think about it. Two people decide to quit smoking. Someone offers each of them a cigarette. The first person replies, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." The second person says, "No thanks, I don't smoke." At first, the difference seems small. Both refuse the cigarette, but psychologically, they're miles apart. The first person still sees themselves as a smoker who's fighting temptation. The second has adopted a new identity. Their behavior flows naturally from who they believe they are. This is one of the most powerful ideas in modern self-development. Lasting transformation begins with identity. Rather than forcing yourself to act differently while secretly believing you're the same person, you start by becoming someone new in your own mind. Your habits then become evidence of that new identity. Every action you repeat casts a vote for the person you are becoming. Read one page, and you cast a vote for becoming a reader. Exercise for 20 minutes, and you cast a vote for becoming a healthy person. Save a small amount of money, and you cast a vote for becoming financially responsible. Speak kindly even when you're frustrated, and you cast a vote for becoming emotionally mature. None of these actions changes your life overnight, but together they shape your character. This is why chasing motivation rarely works. Motivation comes and goes. Identity remains. Imagine trying to build a house on unstable ground. No matter how beautiful the walls are, the foundation will eventually fail. Your identity is the foundation of your life. If it's weak, your habits won't last. If it's strong, discipline becomes easier because your actions match the person you believe you are. So ask yourself, who do I want to become by the end of 2026? Not what do I want to own? Not what do I want to achieve? Who do I want to be? Do you want to become a disciplined person? Then make decisions that disciplined people make. Do you want to become someone who is physically healthy? Then begin living like a healthy person today, not after you reach your goal weight. Do you want to become financially successful? Practice the habits of someone who manages money wisely before you earn more money. Do you want to become a great leader? Learn to serve, communicate clearly, and take responsibility before anyone gives you a title. Identity always comes before influence. Many people believe confidence comes first and action follows. The truth is often the opposite. Action builds confidence. Every promise you keep to yourself strengthens your identity. Every promise you break weakens it. That's why you should start with commitments that are small enough to keep. If you want to become someone who reads, don't promise to read 50 books this year. Read 10 pages every day. If you want to become fit, don't begin with impossible workouts. Start with 20 minutes of movement each day. If you want to become productive, don't aim for perfection. Focus on completing one meaningful task before checking social media. Small, consistent actions reshape the way you see yourself. Eventually, you stop saying, I'm trying to be disciplined. Instead, you say, I am disciplined. You stop saying, I'm trying to be healthy. You say, I'm someone who takes care of my body. That shift changes everything. Your brain naturally seeks consistency. Once you genuinely believe you are a certain kind of person, your actions begin to align with that belief. Discipline feels less like a struggle and more like an expression of who you are. As you move through the rest of this audiobook, don't think of these habits as items on a checklist. Think of them as building blocks for a new identity, because the quality of your life is determined by the quality of the person you become. Remember this powerful question every morning: who must I become today? Then spend the rest of the day becoming that person, one choice, one habit, and one decision at a time. The second half of 2026 doesn't belong to the most talented. It belongs to the people who intentionally become the person their future requires. Habit 2. Win the first hour of every morning. If Habit 1 was about becoming the right person, Habit 2 is about giving that person the right start every single day. Here's a truth that many successful people have discovered. The first hour of your morning often predicts the quality of the rest of your day. Think about it. Every morning you wake up with a fresh mind, renewed energy, and a new opportunity to shape your future. But before you even get out of bed, what do most people do? They reach for their phones. Within minutes, they're scrolling through social media, reading messages, checking emails, or consuming bad news. Before they've had a chance to think their own thoughts, they've already allowed the world to dictate their emotions. By the time they finally get up, they're reacting instead of leading. Imagine starting your day by absorbing everyone else's priorities before you've even considered your own. You've already lost. Your attention is your greatest asset. The way you spend your first hour determines who controls it, you or the world around you. The highest performers understand something different. They don't allow the day to happen to them. They prepare themselves before facing it. That doesn't mean you have to wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning if your schedule doesn't allow it. The goal isn't to copy someone else's wake-up time. The goal is to create a morning routine that prepares your body, sharpens your mind, and strengthens your spirit before life's demands begin. Let's break that first hour into 5 simple practices. 1. Stay away from your phone. For at least the first 30 to 60 minutes after waking, resist the urge to check your phone. This may feel uncomfortable at first because your brain has become accustomed to instant stimulation. But every notification, every headline, and every social media post competes for your attention before you've even decided how you want to feel. Instead of beginning your day with distraction, begin it with intention. Protect your mind while it's most impressionable. Your phone is a powerful tool, but it should never become your alarm clock, your morning companion, and your emotional compass all at once. Own your attention before the internet does. 2. Move your body. You don't need an expensive gym membership or an intense workout. You simply need movement. Stretch, take a brisk walk, do push-ups, practice yoga, go for a short run, anything that gets your blood flowing. Movement wakes up more than your muscles. It wakes up your brain. It increases energy, improves focus, reduces stress, and creates momentum that carries into the rest of your day. Even 15 or 20 minutes of consistent movement can dramatically improve your mood and productivity. Remember, your body is the vehicle carrying your dreams. Take care of it. 3. Feed your mind. Most people feed their minds with endless entertainment, but very little wisdom. Imagine reading just 10 pages every morning. 10 pages may not sound impressive, but over 6 months, that's thousands of pages. That's dozens of books. That's countless new ideas that slowly reshape the way you think. Read books that challenge you. Read biographies of people who overcame incredible obstacles. Read about leadership, communication, finance, psychology, relationships, and personal growth. The people you admire today were shaped by the ideas they consistently exposed themselves to. Your life rises to the level of your thinking. If you want a different life, begin with different thoughts. 4. Write before the world speaks to you. Journaling isn't just about recording events. It's about creating clarity. Your mind carries countless thoughts every day: dreams, fears, worries, ideas, and unanswered questions. Writing helps organize that mental clutter. Some mornings, write 3 things you're grateful for. Other mornings, write your biggest lesson from yesterday. Write about your goals. Write about your fears. Write about the person you're becoming. Writing slows your thoughts enough for you to understand them. Many breakthroughs don't happen because people think harder. They happen because people think more clearly. 5. Plan your day. Before it begins, never allow your schedule to be created by emergencies. Instead, decide what matters before the day becomes busy. Ask yourself 3 simple questions. What is the single most important task I must complete today? Who do I need to serve today? What kind of person do I want to be today? Notice that the last question isn't about productivity, it's about identity. Success isn't just about completing tasks. It's about becoming someone who consistently lives with purpose. When you begin each day intentionally, you stop reacting to life and start directing it. You become calmer under pressure, more focused, more disciplined, more fulfilled. Morning routines aren't magical because they happen in the morning. They're powerful because they remind you that every day is a fresh opportunity to become the person you decided to be. If yesterday was unproductive, today is a new beginning. If last week was full of distractions, today is a new beginning. If the first half of 2026 didn't go as planned, today is a new beginning. You don't need a new year to change your life. You need a new morning. Win the first hour, and you'll give yourself the best possible chance of winning the entire day. And when you win enough days in a row, You eventually build a life you're proud of. Habit 3, protect your attention. Like your future depends on it. Imagine someone offered you $10 million. Most people would accept without hesitation. Now imagine they added one condition: you wouldn't wake up tomorrow. Suddenly, $10 million doesn't seem valuable anymore. Why? Because you instinctively understand that time is worth more than money. But here's the tragedy. Every single day, millions of people give away their time for free. Not because someone steals it, because they surrender it. One notification, one short video, one endless scroll at a time. The greatest battle of the modern world isn't for land. It isn't for oil. It isn't even for money. It's for your attention. Because whoever controls your attention ultimately influences your decisions, your habits, your identity, and eventually your future. The wealthiest technology companies on Earth aren't simply competing to create better apps. They're competing for one thing: your focus. Every time you pick up your phone, intending to check one message but spend the next 45 minutes scrolling, you've experienced the invisible cost of distraction. The frightening part is that it rarely feels dangerous. It feels entertaining, harmless, even relaxing. But distraction is one of the most expensive habits you can develop because it quietly steals the only resource you can never earn back: your time. Behind this constant craving is something happening inside your brain. Your brain releases a chemical called dopamine whenever you anticipate something rewarding. It's one of the reasons checking your phone feels so satisfying. Every swipe, every notification, every new video carries the possibility of something interesting, funny, or exciting. Your brain begins to crave that cycle of novelty. Over time, constant stimulation trains your mind to expect quick rewards. The result? Reading a book feels difficult. Working on a meaningful project feels boring. Having a deep conversation requires more effort. Your attention span begins to shrink, not because you're incapable of focusing, because your brain has been trained to constantly seek the next hit of stimulation. Think about how often you've opened your phone without even realizing why. You weren't looking for anything specific. You were simply escaping a moment of boredom. Yet boredom is not your enemy. In many cases, boredom is the birthplace of creativity. Some of humanity's greatest inventions, books, businesses, and breakthroughs didn't emerge from endless entertainment. They emerged from uninterrupted thinking. Unfortunately, many people no longer allow themselves to think. Every quiet moment is filled with another video, another notification, another distraction, and slowly, without noticing, they lose the ability to sit with difficult problems long enough to solve them. This is why focus has become a superpower. While most people are constantly distracted, the person who can concentrate deeply for even one uninterrupted hour gains an enormous advantage. Deep work, the ability to focus intensely on one meaningful task without distraction, is becoming increasingly rare. And because it's rare, it's becoming increasingly valuable. Look at the people who build extraordinary careers: the entrepreneur creating a successful company, the author writing a best-selling book, the scientist making discoveries, the musician composing unforgettable songs, the software engineer building world-changing technology. None of these achievements happen through constant interruption. They happen because someone protected their attention long enough to produce something meaningful. The quality of your focus determines the quality of your future. Ask yourself this uncomfortable question. When was the last time you spent an entire hour completely focused on one important task without checking your phone? For many people, they can't remember. That's not a character flaw. It's the environment we've accepted. But you don't have to live that way. You can reclaim your attention. Start with simple boundaries. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Keep your phone in another room while you work. Create blocks of time where your only responsibility is one important task. Read books without reaching for your phone every few minutes. Go for walks without headphones. Eat meals without scrolling. Allow your mind to become quiet again. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. Your brain will crave stimulation. You'll feel the urge to just check one notification. Don't give in immediately. That discomfort isn't a sign something is wrong. It's a sign you're retraining your mind. Every time you resist distraction, you're strengthening your ability to focus. Every focused hour becomes an investment in the person you're becoming. Imagine what could happen if you reclaim just 2 hours every day. 2 hours of learning, 2 hours of building, 2 hours of writing, 2 hours of exercising, 2 hours of creating instead of consuming. Over the remaining months of 2026, those hours would become hundreds of hours. Hundreds of hours can transform a career, master a new skill, build a business, write a book, change your health, change your finances, change your life. Never forget this. Your future isn't built by what occasionally gets your attention. It's built by what consistently keeps your attention. Every day, the world will compete for your focus. Choose carefully, because wherever your attention goes, your life follows. Habit 4, read every day, because the person you want to become is hidden inside the books you haven't read yet. Imagine meeting the version of yourself 5 years from now. They're wiser, more confident, more articulate, financially stronger, emotionally mature. The question is, how did they become that person? The answer probably isn't a single life-changing event. It's thousands of quiet moments of learning, one chapter, one page, one idea at a time. There's an old saying that remains true today. The person you become is largely determined by the books you read, the people you surround yourself with, and the ideas you allow to shape your mind. Unfortunately, most people stop learning the day they leave school. They graduate from a classroom, but unknowingly graduate from personal growth as well. Years pass, technology changes, the world evolves, but they continue thinking the same thoughts, making the same decisions, and wondering why their lives remain the same. Growth doesn't stop because you get older. Growth stops when you stop learning. Reading is one of the few habits that allows you to borrow decades of experience in just a few hours. Think about that. A successful entrepreneur may spend 30 years building a business, making mistakes, recovering from failures, and discovering what truly works. Then they write a book. For the price of a meal and a few hours of your time, you gain access to lessons that took them decades to learn. That's one of the greatest investments you'll ever make. Books compress time. They allow you to learn from people you'll never meet. Mentors who lived centuries ago can still shape the way you think today. You can sit with great leaders, psychologists, philosophers, athletes, investors, and innovators simply by opening a book. Every page expands your perspective. Every idea gives you another way to solve problems. Every lesson helps you avoid mistakes someone else already made. And over time, those small insights begin changing the way you see the world. The most successful people in every field have one thing in common. They never stop learning. They understand that knowledge is like compound interest. One idea may seem insignificant today, but collect hundreds of valuable ideas over months and years, and your thinking becomes completely different from the average person's. That's why reading isn't about finishing as many books as possible. It's about allowing great ideas to transform your decisions. Don't read to impress people. Read to improve yourself. When you read, don't rush. Pause when an idea challenges you. Highlight sentences that make you think. Take notes. Ask yourself, how can I apply this to my own life? Knowledge without application is entertainment. Knowledge applied becomes transformation. Even 10 pages a day can change your future. 10 pages may not sound impressive, but over 1 year you've read thousands of pages. That's dozens of books, dozens of new perspectives, dozens of opportunities to become wiser than you were yesterday. Imagine if, by the end of 2026, you had read books on discipline, communication, leadership, money, health, relationships, and emotional intelligence. Would you still think the same way? Probably not, because every great book stretches your mind. And once your mind is expanded, it rarely returns to its previous size. Choose your books carefully. Feed your mind with ideas that build courage instead of fear, wisdom instead of noise, truth instead of distraction. Read biographies of people who overcame impossible odds. Read books that challenge your beliefs. Read books that teach practical skills. Read books that make you uncomfortable enough to grow. The quality of your life will never consistently exceed the quality of your thinking, and the quality of your thinking depends on what you repeatedly feed your mind. Remember this: your phone feeds you information. Books feed you wisdom. Information tells you what's happening. Wisdom teaches you how to respond. One entertains your attention, the other transforms your life. As you move through the second half of 2026, make this commitment. Read every single day, even if it's only 10 pages, even if it's only 15 minutes, because every page you read is another investment in the person you're becoming. Years from now, people may look at your success and call you lucky. They'll never see the quiet mornings, the highlighted pages, the notes in the margins, the evenings spent learning while others were endlessly scrolling. But you'll know, your success wasn't built overnight, it was built one page at a time. Habit 5, master delayed gratification. Choose what you want most over what you want now. Every day, life asks you one simple question. Do you want comfort now or freedom later? Most people never realize they're answering that question. They answer it when they hit the snooze button instead of getting up, when they spend money they should have saved, when they choose another hour of entertainment instead of working on their dreams, when they avoid difficult conversations, when they eat what feels good today instead of what will make them healthier tomorrow. These decisions seem small, almost invisible, but over months and years, they create two completely different lives. One is built on instant pleasure, the other is built on lasting fulfillment. The ability to delay gratification is one of the strongest predictors of long-term success. It's the willingness to say, I can have this now, but I'm choosing something better later. That mindset separates those who merely dream from those who actually achieve. Think about a farmer. A farmer doesn't eat the seed. He plants it. For weeks, nothing appears to happen. The ground looks empty. To someone who doesn't understand the process, it may seem like nothing is growing. But beneath the surface, roots are forming. Life is preparing a harvest long before anyone can see it. Your habits work the same way. Every disciplined decision is a seed. Every hour spent learning, every workout completed, every dollar invested instead of wasted, every temptation resisted, every promise kept, each one disappears into the soil of your future. And one day the harvest arrives. The tragedy is that most people dig up the seed too early. They exercise for a week and quit because they don't see results. They start a business but give up after a few months. They begin reading consistently but stop because progress feels slow. They mistake invisible progress for failure. But the greatest transformations are almost always invisible before they become obvious. Success is patient. Failure demands immediate satisfaction. This is why delayed gratification feels difficult. Your brain naturally seeks pleasure. It wants comfort. It wants certainty. It wants the reward now. Modern life makes this even harder. Food arrives in minutes. Movies begin instantly. Packages are delivered overnight. Social media gives endless entertainment without asking you to earn it. We've become accustomed to immediate rewards. Yet the most meaningful things in life refuse to happen instantly. Trust takes years to build. Great relationships require consistent effort. Strong bodies are built over months. Financial freedom grows through disciplined decisions. Wisdom comes from years of learning. Character is formed one choice at a time. Everything valuable asks for patience. Imagine standing at a crossroads. One path is smooth, comfortable, and easy. The other is steep, demanding, and uncertain. Most people choose the easy road because it feels better today. But years later, they wonder why they never reached extraordinary places. The harder road often becomes the easier life. The easier road often becomes the harder life. That's why discipline is not punishment. It's an investment. Every time you choose what matters most over what feels good now, you're sending yourself a powerful message. My future is worth protecting. You don't have to become perfect overnight. You simply need to pause before acting. Before making a purchase, ask, Will this move me closer to the life I want? Before scrolling for another hour, ask, what could I create with this time instead? Before giving up on a difficult goal, ask, am I quitting because it's impossible or because it's uncomfortable? Those questions create awareness, and awareness creates better decisions. Remember, delayed gratification doesn't mean you never enjoy life. It means you refuse to sacrifice your future for temporary comfort. There is a profound difference. One builds regret. The other builds freedom. As the second half of 2026 unfolds, opportunities to choose comfort will appear every day. So will opportunities to choose growth. No one else can make that decision for you. Your future self is depending on the choices you make today. One day you'll wake up living the life your habits created. When that day comes, you'll either be grateful that you learned to wait for what truly mattered, or you'll wish you had. So whenever you're faced with a choice between what you want now and what you want most, remember this. The life you've always dreamed of is often hiding on the other side of one disciplined decision. Habit 6, guard your environment, because your environment is quietly shaping your future. Imagine planting the healthiest seed in the world. The seed has incredible potential. It could grow into a strong, fruitful tree. But instead of planting it in rich soil, you place it in dry, rocky ground with no water and no sunlight. What happens? The problem isn't the seed. The problem is the environment. Now ask yourself this question. What if you've been blaming yourself for struggles that are actually being created by your environment? Many people believe they lack discipline, but often they don't lack discipline. They simply haven't designed an environment that makes success easier. Here's a truth that can change your life. Your environment will always influence your behavior more than your intentions. You may have the intention to read every day, but if your books are hidden away while your phone is always within reach, which one are you more likely to pick up? You may want to eat healthier, but if your kitchen is filled with unhealthy snacks, temptation becomes much harder to resist. You may dream of becoming productive, but if your workspace is filled with distractions, clutter, noise, and constant interruptions, your focus will suffer before you even begin. Success is rarely about making one heroic decision. It's about making the right decision easier to repeat. Look around the room you're in right now. Everything you see is encouraging a particular behavior. Your television invites you to watch. Your bed invites you to sleep. Your phone invites you to scroll. Your bookshelf invites you to learn. Your desk invites you to work. Your environment is always speaking. The question is, what is it encouraging you to become? Think about the people in your life as part of your environment too. The conversations you have, the attitudes you listen to, the expectations people place on you, the standards you accept. All of these quietly shape your thinking. If you're constantly surrounded by people who complain, make excuses, and settle for mediocrity, maintaining a growth mindset becomes difficult. Negativity is contagious, but so is excellence. Spend enough time with disciplined people, and discipline begins to feel normal. Spend enough time with optimistic people, and possibility begins to replace fear. Spend enough time with people who value learning, integrity, and hard work, and you'll naturally begin raising your own standards. This doesn't mean you should abandon everyone who thinks differently. It means you should intentionally choose the voices that have the greatest influence over your life. Not every opinion deserves access to your mind. The same principle applies to what you consume. Every movie, every podcast, every song, every social media account, every news headline, every YouTube video, they're all planting seeds. Some seeds produce courage, others produce fear, some produce wisdom, others produce comparison, anxiety, and distraction. Protect your mind the way you would protect your home. You wouldn't leave your front door open for anyone to walk in. So don't leave your mind open to every voice that demands your attention. Another powerful part of your environment is your routine. When your days are unstructured, poor decisions multiply. But when you build systems that support your goals, success becomes much more natural. Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Keep a book on your bedside table. Prepare healthy meals in advance. Create a workspace where distractions are removed. Charge your phone outside your bedroom. These may seem like small changes, but small changes repeated every day create extraordinary results. Remember, successful people don't rely on willpower every minute of the day. They build environments that reduce unnecessary temptation. They make the right choice, the easiest choice? Ask yourself these questions today. What in my environment is helping me grow? What in my environment is holding me back? Which habits become easier because of the spaces I live in? Which habits become harder? Be honest. Sometimes changing your life doesn't begin with changing yourself. Sometimes it begins with changing your surroundings. As you move through the second half of 2026, become intentional about every environment you enter. Your home, your workplace, your friendships, your digital world, your daily routines. Don't allow them to shape you by accident. Shape them on purpose. Because every environment is pulling you toward a destination. Choose one that pulls you toward the life you truly want. Remember this powerful truth. Your habits create your future, but your environment creates your habits. Guard it carefully, because what surrounds you today is slowly becoming who you will be tomorrow. Habit 7. Have weekly reviews. Because what you don't measure, you rarely improve. Imagine getting into a car, choosing a destination hundreds of miles away, and then deciding you'll never look at the road again. No windshield, no mirrors, no map, no steering corrections. You simply press the accelerator and hope you'll somehow arrive. It sounds ridiculous. Yet that's exactly how many people live their lives. They set ambitious goals at the beginning of the year. I want to get fit. I want to save more money. I want to start a business. I want to read more books. I want to become more disciplined. Then they never stop to ask a simple question. Am I actually moving in the right direction? Without reflection, even the best intentions slowly disappear. Days become weeks, weeks become months. And before you know it, another year has passed with very little to show for it. Success doesn't happen because you make one great plan. Success happens because you're willing to make small corrections along the way. Think of an airplane flying from one country to another. Most people imagine it travels in a perfectly straight line. It doesn't. Throughout the journey, the pilot constantly makes tiny adjustments because of wind, weather, and changing conditions. Those small corrections are what keep the plane on course. Your life works exactly the same way. You don't need to be perfect. You simply need to keep adjusting. That's why a weekly review is one of the most powerful habits you can develop. Once every week, set aside 30 to 60 minutes with no distractions. This is your appointment with your future. Open a notebook or journal and ask yourself honest questions. What did I accomplish this week? Celebrate every win, no matter how small. Progress deserves recognition. Confidence grows when you acknowledge that you're moving forward. Then ask, where did I fall short? Don't judge yourself. Don't make excuses. Simply observe. Remember, you're not reviewing your week to criticize yourself. You're reviewing it to learn. Next, ask, what distracted me? Was it social media, procrastination, poor planning, fear, negative thinking, unexpected responsibilities? You can't solve problems you refuse to identify. Awareness is the beginning of change. Then ask another important question. Did my daily actions reflect the person I said I wanted to become? Notice the focus isn't just on results, it's on identity. If your goal is to become healthier, did your habits reflect that identity this week? If your goal is financial freedom, did your spending reflect that identity? If your goal is to become wiser, did you make time to learn? The answers may be uncomfortable. That's okay. Growth begins where honesty begins. Finally, ask yourself, what is one improvement I will make next week? Not 10 improvements, not 20, just one. Small adjustments repeated consistently create extraordinary change. Many people fail because they constantly chase new strategies instead of improving the systems they already have. A weekly review prevents that. It keeps you focused. It reminds you why you started. It helps you recognize patterns before they become permanent. One bad day won't ruin your life. One bad week doesn't define you either. But months of ignoring your habits can quietly pull you away from the future you're trying to build. A weekly review acts like a reset button. It allows you to begin again before small mistakes become major regrets. Because the people who improve the fastest are rarely the ones who make the fewest mistakes. They're the ones who are willing to learn from them the quickest. Your future doesn't require perfection. It requires consistent correction. And sometimes one honest conversation with yourself each week is all it takes to change the direction of your entire life. Habit 8, invest in relationships because success means little. If you have no one to share it with, imagine achieving every goal you've ever dreamed of. You build a successful career, you become financially secure, you buy the house you've always wanted, you travel the world, you accomplish everything you once prayed for. But when you return home, there's no one to celebrate with, no one who truly knows your journey, no one who genuinely cares. Would that really be success? Probably not, because at the end of the day, the quality of your life is deeply connected to the quality of your relationships. Human beings were never created to live in isolation. We grow through connection, we heal through connection, we find purpose through connection. The happiest people aren't always the richest. They aren't always the most famous. More often, they're the people who have meaningful relationships built on trust, love, respect, and genuine care. Yet in today's world, relationships are quietly being neglected. We're more connected through technology than at any other time in history, but many people have never felt more lonely. We send messages instead of having conversations. We react with emojis instead of expressing emotions. We follow hundreds of people online while slowly drifting away from the people sitting beside us. Connection has become easier. Relationships have become harder. Real relationships require something technology cannot replace: presence. When you're with someone, truly be with them. Put the phone away. Listen without planning your next response. Ask meaningful questions. Make people feel heard. One of the greatest gifts you can give another person is your full attention. People may forget your words. They may forget what you gave them, but they'll rarely forget how you made them feel. Relationships are built in small moments. A phone call to check on a friend, a message of encouragement, keeping a promise, showing up when it's inconvenient, celebrating someone else's success without jealousy, offering forgiveness when you've been hurt, choosing kindness when it's easier to criticize. These moments may seem ordinary, but over time they build extraordinary trust. Remember this: relationships are like gardens. If you ignore them, weeds begin to grow. Misunderstandings replace communication. Distance replaces closeness. Assumptions replace honesty. Eventually, something beautiful begins to fade. Not because it couldn't survive, but because no one continued to care for it. Every healthy relationship requires intentional investment: time, patience, honesty, humility, grace, and perhaps the most difficult investment of all, forgiveness. Every meaningful relationship will eventually experience disappointment. People will misunderstand you. They'll let you down. Sometimes you'll be the one who causes the pain. If you expect perfection from imperfect people, you'll spend your life disappointed. Learning to forgive doesn't mean pretending the pain never happened. It means refusing to allow bitterness to control your future. Forgiveness sets your own heart free. Another important relationship you must invest in is the relationship you have with mentors. No one succeeds alone. Behind every successful person are people who offered wisdom, correction, encouragement, and perspective. Seek people who challenge you to become better. People who tell you the truth even when it's uncomfortable. People who inspire you through the way they live, not just through what they say. Don't only ask yourself, who can help me? Also ask, who can I help? The strongest relationships are built on generosity, not selfishness. Look for opportunities to encourage, to serve, to teach, to lift others up. Ironically, the more value you bring into other people's lives, the richer your own life becomes. As you move through the second half of 2026, don't become so focused on building your dreams that you forget to build the relationships that make those dreams meaningful. Success without love becomes empty. Achievement without friendship becomes lonely. Wealth without trust becomes fragile. Never sacrifice the people who matter most for goals that won't matter forever. One day your achievements will become memories. Your possessions will eventually belong to someone else. But the lives you've touched, the people you've loved, the kindness you've shown, the encouragement you've given, those are the things that leave a lasting legacy. So this week, make one intentional investment in a relationship. Call your parents. Spend uninterrupted time with your spouse or children. Reconnect with an old friend. Thank a mentor. Encourage someone who's struggling. Be fully present. You may never realize how much one conversation can change someone's life, including your own. Remember this powerful truth. Your network may open doors for your success, but your relationships give your success meaning. Protect them, nurture them, invest in them. Because in the end, the greatest wealth you'll ever possess isn't found in your bank account. It's found in the people who will still be standing beside you when everything else fades. Habit 9, improve your health daily, because your body is the foundation of every dream. Imagine waking up one morning with unlimited money. Every opportunity you've ever wanted is finally within reach. You can start the business, travel the world, spend time with the people you love, pursue every dream you've postponed. But there's one problem. Your body no longer has the strength to enjoy any of it. Suddenly, you realize something that many people discover too late. Health isn't everything, but without it, almost everything becomes harder. Your dreams depend on your body. Your purpose depends on your energy. Your family depends on your presence. And your future depends on the choices you make today. Yet health is one of the few blessings people often ignore until it's gone. We assume we'll always have another tomorrow, another chance to exercise, another opportunity to eat better, another reason to get enough sleep. But the truth is that every day you're either investing in your health or slowly withdrawing from it. There is no neutral ground. Your body is constantly responding to your habits. The food you eat becomes your energy. The sleep you get becomes your focus. The movement you choose becomes your strength. The stress you ignore becomes your burden. Small daily decisions quietly shape the person you'll become. Many people believe becoming healthy requires dramatic changes, extreme diets, impossible workout routines, hours in the gym every day. That's why they often quit after a few weeks. Real health isn't built through extremes. It's built through consistency. A 20-minute walk every day, drinking more water, choosing nutritious meals more often than unhealthy ones, going to bed a little earlier, stretching your body, taking regular breaks from sitting, managing stress before it becomes overwhelming. These habits may seem ordinary, but ordinary habits repeated over time create extraordinary results. Remember, your body keeps score. It remembers every hour of sleep you sacrificed, every meal you skipped, every workout you avoided, every moment you chose convenience over care. But here's the encouraging news. Your body also responds to positive change. It adapts, it heals, it grows stronger. No matter where you are today, your next healthy decision matters. If you haven't exercised in months, today can be your beginning. If your eating habits have been poor, your next meal is an opportunity to change direction. If you've neglected your rest, tonight can become the first night you prioritize recovery. You don't have to be perfect. You simply have to begin. Another part of health that people often overlook is mental and emotional well-being. A healthy body and an exhausted mind cannot produce lasting success. Take time to rest. Take time to pray or meditate. Take walks without distractions. Laugh with people you love. Spend time in nature. Allow yourself moments of stillness. Rest is not laziness. Rest is preparation. Even the strongest athletes understand that growth doesn't happen only during training. It happens during recovery. The same is true for your life. Burnout is not a badge of honor. Constant exhaustion is not proof of productivity. You were not created to live every day running on empty. The healthiest people aren't the ones who never face stress. They're the ones who build habits that help them recover from it. As you move through the second half of 2026, stop asking, how little can I do to stay healthy? Instead, ask, how well can I care for the only body I'll ever have? Because you only get one. You can replace a phone, you can replace a car, you can rebuild a business, but your body is irreplaceable. Treat it with the respect it deserves. One day you'll thank yourself for every healthy meal you chose, every workout you completed, every night you chose rest over endless scrolling, every glass of water instead of another sugary drink, every step you took when you didn't feel like moving. These small decisions may never make headlines, but they will quietly give you the strength to pursue the life you've been called to live. Remember this, your body is the vehicle carrying your purpose. If you neglect the vehicle, the journey becomes harder. So nourish it, move it, protect it, rest it, strengthen it. Not because you're chasing perfection, but because the healthiest version of you has the greatest capacity to serve, to lead, to love, and to leave a lasting impact. Your future is waiting. Make sure your body is strong enough to meet it. Habit 10, take action before you feel ready. Because courage comes after the first step, not before it. What if the only thing standing between you and the life you've always wanted is one decision you've been postponing? Think about it. How many dreams have died because someone kept saying, I'll start when I'm ready. I'll launch the business when I know more. I'll apply for the job when I have more experience. I'll write the book when I have more confidence, and I'll start exercising next Monday. I'll save money after I earn more. I'll forgive them when I feel like it. I'll change my life next year. The problem is that someday is the most dangerous word in the English language, because someday rarely arrives. It quietly becomes next week, then next month, then next year. Until one day you wake up wondering where the time went. Here's the truth that successful people understand. You will never feel completely ready. There will always be another reason to wait, another excuse, another fear, another uncertainty. If you wait until fear disappears, you'll wait for the rest of your life. Fear isn't a sign you're on the wrong path. Very often it's proof that you're standing at the edge of growth. Think back to every major milestone in your life. Your first day at school, your first interview, your first job, the first time you drove a car, the first time you spoke in front of people, the first time you loved someone enough to become vulnerable. Were you completely ready? Probably not. Yet you did it anyway. And because you acted, you grew. Confidence wasn't what came first. Action was. Every confident person you admire was once a beginner. Every successful entrepreneur once had an idea nobody believed in. Every best-selling author once stared at a blank page. Every athlete once struggled through their first training session. Every leader once questioned whether they were capable. The difference wasn't talent, it was the willingness to begin before certainty arrived. Here's something many people don't realize. Action creates clarity, not the other way around. You don't learn to swim by reading about swimming. You learn by getting into the water. You don't become a great speaker by watching videos. You become one by speaking. You don't become disciplined by thinking about discipline. You become disciplined by doing the difficult thing, again and again. Waiting for perfect conditions is like waiting for the ocean to stop producing waves before you learn to surf. Life will never be free from uncertainty. The people who accomplish extraordinary things simply learn to move forward despite it. So ask yourself, what have I been postponing? Is it a conversation you need to have? A business you've been dreaming about? A course you want to enroll in? A habit you know would change your life? A book you've always wanted to write? A decision you've delayed because you're afraid of failing? Now ask yourself an even more important question. What is waiting costing me? Because waiting has a price. Every day you delay is a day you cannot get back. Every month you hesitate is another month your future remains on hold. Every year you postpone your growth is another year someone else moves ahead simply because they were willing to begin. Imagine it's a December 31st, 2026. The year is over. You're standing quietly, reflecting on everything that happened. Now picture two different versions of yourself. The first version is filled with regret. They spent another year waiting, another year making excuses, another year saying, I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow never came. Nothing changed. But the second version, they weren't fearless. They weren't perfect. They still had doubts. They still made mistakes. They still failed sometimes. But they started. They took the first step, then another, and another. Those small actions became new habits. Those habits became a new identity. That identity created a completely different life. The only difference between those two versions of yourself was one decision, the decision to act. As you finish listening to this audiobook, remember the 10 habits you've discovered. Be the architect of your identity. Win the first hour of every morning. Protect your attention. Read every day. Master delayed gratification. Guard your environment. Review your progress every week. Invest in meaningful relationships. Care for your health. And above all, take action. Because information alone has never transformed a life. Knowledge without action becomes entertainment. Dreams without action become frustration. Potential without action becomes regret. The life you've imagined isn't built tomorrow. It's built today, not through one giant leap, but through one courageous decision followed by another. One day, people will look at your life and call you disciplined. They'll call you successful. They'll call you lucky. What they won't see are the mornings you chose discipline over comfort, the evenings you chose learning over entertainment, the moments you kept going when nobody was watching, the quiet decisions that changed everything. And perhaps the greatest truth of all is this: your future self is watching you right now. That person is hoping you'll stop waiting, hoping you'll stop doubting yourself, hoping you'll believe that change is still possible, because it is. The second half of 2026 has not been written yet. These next months are blank pages. What they become depends on the habits you choose, the standards you keep, and the actions you take starting today. Years from now, this could be the moment you look back on and say, that was the day everything changed. Not because your circumstances changed, not because someone came to rescue you, not because you suddenly became fearless, but because you finally decided that the life you wanted was more important than the fear that had been holding you back. So when this audiobook ends, don't simply close it. Close the gap between who you are today and who you know you're capable of becoming. The clock is still ticking. Your future is still waiting. Your dreams are still possible. And your next chapter begins with the decision you make right now. Over the last several minutes, we've explored 10 habits that have the power to transform not just the second half of 2026, but the direction of your entire life. You discovered that lasting change begins with your identity. You learned to win your mornings before the world steals your attention. You saw why protecting your focus is one of the greatest competitive advantages in today's distracted world. You committed to becoming a lifelong learner. You embraced delayed gratification instead of instant pleasure. You learned to design an environment that supports success instead of sabotaging it. You discovered the importance of reviewing your progress every week. You were reminded that relationships are one of life's greatest investments. You recognize that your health is the foundation upon which every dream is built. And finally, you accepted the challenge to take action before you ever feel completely ready. Now comes the most important question of all. What will you do next? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Listening to this audiobook will not change your life. Admiring these ideas won't change your life. Highlighting your favorite quotes won't change your life. Even agreeing with everything you've heard won't change your life. Only one thing will. Action, small, consistent, daily. Action. Imagine yourself standing on December 31st, 2026. The year is coming to an end. You look back over the last 6 months. Who is standing there? Is it the version of you who kept waiting? The one who kept saying, "I'll start tomorrow"? The one who let fear make the decisions? The one who stayed comfortable while secretly wishing life would somehow change? Or is it the version of you who finally decided enough was enough? The one who woke up earlier, read more, moved their body, protected their attention, invested in meaningful relationships, built discipline one day at a time, kept promises to themselves, faced uncomfortable conversations, stopped making excuses, and slowly became the person they once only imagined. That person is not created by luck. That person is created by habits. Every sunrise gives you another opportunity to cast a vote for the person you're becoming. Every decision matters. Every hour matters. Every habit matters. Never underestimate the power of small beginnings. A single page becomes a book. A single workout becomes a healthier body. A single conversation restores a relationship. A single courageous decision changes the direction of a lifetime. Remember, you don't have to change your entire life today. You only have to win today, then wake up tomorrow and win again. Because extraordinary lives are built through ordinary days, lived with extraordinary consistency. One day, people will admire the life you've built. Before you go, if this audiobook challenged you, encouraged you, or helped you see your life from a new perspective, I'd love to invite you to become part of the Mighty Audio Library community. If you don't want to miss the next life-changing audiobook, subscribe to Mighty Audio Library. Turn on notifications so you'll be the first to know when a new audiobook is released. Finally, share this audiobook with someone you care about. One message, one link, or one recommendation could become the turning point in another person's life. Thank you for spending this time with me. Never stop learning, never stop growing, and never stop becoming the person you were created to be. I'll see you in the next audiobook here on Mighty Audio Library.